Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio. This is The Ramsey Show. It's where we talk with you about your life, specifically your money, your relationships, and your work. And all three of those areas are absolutely tied together. And if you're not winning in one of those areas, I promise you this, you're losing in the other areas. And we want to give you some practical steps so that you have a clear path forward. Hope-filled advice. I'm Ken Coleman. He is Dr. John Deloney. We're here together for you. It is a free phone call, 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Now, listen, I got to call this out. For those of you that are longtime listeners, new listeners, you're going, hey, this really is more than just a money show. And you got two non-money experts today. So take the advice with, shall we say, a light grip, John.
Sell the truck. Then we'll just go ahead and say
that's what we're going to say. We're going to say no debt, and we're going to give you your basic money advice. But I do want you to take advantage of this opportunity. John and I, we get the awesome privilege to travel together all around the country, and we do a kind of a pre-event free-for-all where we sit together on a stage at Building Wealth Live, and we take people's questions around relationships and mental health. Yeah. And work. And John, we find many times at those events that we end up both answering
it's all braided
the same
together,
question.
Man. It's all braided together.
So mental health, struggling. Hey, here's one. How about taking John and I for a spin on toxic workplaces? You're in a toxic work environment. Those are fun for us because they do involve both of our vantage points. And so whatever, your money question, your relationship question, anxiety questions, mental health, work, all of it together, John and I are here. So let's go. Blake is going to start us off in Madison, Wisconsin. Blake, how can we help?
How's it going, guys?
Man, we're having a blast. What's going on with you today?
I'm starting to turn my life around here. This new year's been a big start in the right direction. But right now I'm back from college. I'm a recovering addict, and I'm not sure exactly what I want to do. I have so many ideas in my head for a career.
Okay.
And I'm just like, I got to make sure I'm doing the right thing here.
What's the nature of your addiction, brother?
Oh. Sorry, I don't know if you could hear that. That was an alarm.
No, we didn't hear it.
My addiction was alcohol and everything on my phone, TV. I'll say everything.
Okay.
Food.
So what flipped the switch for you? What opened your eyes and you thought to yourself, "Oh, I don't want this life. I want to do something different."
I was sick of it. I was just sick of it.
Dude, I hear me say, man. How old are you?
I'm 22.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because, I mean, when you're talking about food, you're talking about digital communication, you're talking about alcohol, that also means you had to come up with a new set of friends and you had to wrestle. Dude, you're an absolute gangster. I'm honored to get to talk to you. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I love the nature of this question, Blake, because you've got some ideas that have come from your heart and they're swirling in your head. And I'm so glad you got John and I together because you have gotten sick and tired of being sick and tired, and now you're ready to make a contribution. And can I just tell you before we even get into this, that you're going to get so much natural soul level juice from contributing something positive to this world. Do you understand what I'm saying? You'll never have to medicate again if you realize how valuable you are. So let's talk about these ideas. Anytime I talk to somebody, John, who's got multiple ideas, I like to just have you list the top 2 or 3 and the order that they pop in your mind, because I think we're going to see a pattern here. So let's go. What are these ideas?
I do have them on paper.
Great.
If that's okay.
Yeah, it's perfect. Read them to me.
They all kind of connect, but
I knew it.
I have local meal prep company with supplement company that I want to start. I want to own a gym eventually. I want to influence others online who want to live a healthier life and are looking for it. Mm-hmm. And I also want to potentially do like a nutrition coach for sports.
Okay, great. Now, let's look at the pattern. You said this yourself, so I want you to share with John and I what you see the connection as being. What's the thread between those 3 ideas: local meal prep, nutrition, then own a gym, and then also influence people online for exercise and nutrition, and then nutrition for athletes? What's the common thread there?
Well, it's positive influence on mental and physical health.
Yeah. So coming at it from a food standpoint, food and exercise and the positive mental health impact, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, John, you've actually gone deep and gotten to be really good friends with
some of those guys,
with these dudes, and there is a connection. So what I'm seeing here, Blake, is I'm seeing a ladder that we need to develop for you. So I think you can do all three of these things. You may do them separately. You may do a combination of the three, but I think it's a process for you as you've come out of some real tough stuff that we create the right path for you so that you keep walking forward and adding to the skill and the experience necessary to one day get to that point of having your own business. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think I'm stuck at where do I start?
Yeah, let me tell you where you start. On a lower rung. I don't care where the ladder is, and let me explain what I mean by this. And John, I want you to actually speak into the mental side of this with this advice. My advice for Blake is let's just get in the nutrition space.
Yes.
Big, giant space. I don't care if it's working at GNC for 5 months.
Go get a job at GNC, go get a job
at a local gym.
Get a job at a gym. See how that machine works.
Space.
That's right.
I want him in the space doing two things. Getting experience and getting clarity.
That's
right. Now,
right.
what I mean by that, Blake, and I want to turn this over to John for him to add something right here in this moment, and then we'll keep coming back to the long-term path. But when I say I want you getting experience, I want you just winning. I want you going in and being a part of solving a problem that you care deeply about, which you've already given it to us. Nutrition and exercise and its role on our mental and physical health. Boom. I'm there getting experience, being a part of the solve. Mm-hmm. That's huge for you to get some wins. And oh, by the way, paychecks.
That's right.
Then you're going to start to develop, not just out of the experience, you're going to get some skill set, but more importantly, you're getting clarity on how the industry works, where I want to be, and it's in a low pressure. Someone's paying me to observe where I ultimately want to end up, John. That's what I'm thinking.
And Blake, let me tell you this. How long have you been sober?
It's 28 days.
All right. Excellent. So I often get, let's say there's a married couple and one of them cheats on the other one and they decide to stay together and they go to counseling a few times and then they want to write a book and go on a speaking tour. What I would tell them every step of the way, don't tell your personal story. Don't go out and try to heal the world until you've got both feet on solid, firm ground. Ken's advice is right on because you need to get into these industries, learn it while you're still healing because you're not there yet. You're not even 30 days in, brother. You got a ways to go before you turn the corner. This is going to give you opportunity to practice across the board on yourself and on your job.
And Blake, we're going to help you. Hang on the line. We're going to give you my Get Clear Career Assessment, which is going to give you even more of a focused direction long-term to take our short-term advice. Blake, proud of you, number one. Number two,
awesome.
Go that direction. That's where you're supposed to be. We believe in you.
Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey to start your approval or get more information.
Welcome back, America. You've joined the conversation about your life, specifically your money, your relationships, your work. All three of those are inextricably connected, and you need to be winning in all three, and we're here to help you do that. Dr. John Deloney joins me. I'm Ken Coleman. Ramsey Personalities here for you this hour. 888-825-5225 is the number to jump in. 888-825-5225. Let's go to New York City, New York, the Big Apple. Tom is there. Tom, how can we help?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for taking my call today.
You bet.
So, my wife and I are just about finishing baby step 3. We finished paying off all our student debt and cars, everything except our mortgage just at the end of last year.
Great.
And now that we're coming up on the end of baby step 3, having saved about 6 months for an emergency fund, I know the next steps, that are in the baby steps are saving 15%, investing that in retirement, and paying off our home early. But we're at a point where next year we're looking to kind of start a family. And right now we live in like a 1-bedroom apartment, and we're looking at, saving up to save up for a home. So I guess my question is, what's the best way to kind of save up for a home, but also, still continuing on those baby steps?
Yeah, well, the next baby step is what we call baby step 3B. You don't have the child yet, correct? Did I hear you properly?
That's right. Yeah, not yet.
So am I hearing in your question a little bit of uncertainty as it relates to how much money should we be saving for the baby before we start saving for the house? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, it's mostly just for that house, just to have, because we would need a little bit of more space for
sure
when we do start to.
Okay. All right, so let's just look at real numbers. You guys planning to stay in the area that you're living in now?
Yeah, pretty much. We live just outside of New York City.
Okay, so have you done any research in the marketplace on a house that's a good starter house for you guys? Certainly big enough for you and mama and baby?
Yeah.
All right, so what are we talking
checking
about?
Out the market just to get a feel.
What's the price range that we're looking at that's realistic? It's not like the nicest brand new neighborhood, because I can tell you, John and I'll tell you, that doesn't matter. We just want a nice, safe, not a trap of just money going into an old dilapidated house. So based on that, what are we looking at as a purchase price?
Yeah, so I think something that would be doable for our range would be kind of something around $500,000, which seems to be on the lower mid range, but just enough that we would need for us.
All right. So John, based on what we teach, we're looking at anywhere from 10 to 20% down payment. Right. So there's your number.
Yeah. And a common trap, dude, that I fell into, I'm confident Ken did too. This baby, when you bring this baby home, the baby weighs like 6 to 10 pounds. And so we get this idea, like, I got to have another room and a special laundry section, and it's 8 pounds. It's like a heavy football. And so Ken's been open about this too. Both Ken and I had very clear pictures. You probably like me. My wife and I went to dinner. It's like we're starting the family planning process, and it took my family years. Yeah. Took Ken's same thing, years. And so, what I don't want you to, I'm telling you that to tell you this. I don't want you to get manic about buying a house, because you have to have one before you have a kid.
Yep.
And then you're going to go rush off and buy something stupid that you can't afford, because you're going to go in with a budget of $5, and then she's going to see something that she likes that's $650, and then you're going to feel this like shame that you can't provide. And it's a whole domino, dude, that almost every guy I know goes through. And then you end up with a house, and then it takes 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and now you're in another conversation about starting a family. I would tell you to relax and get 10 to 20% down, and then you're in a position to kind of buy what you want when you need it.
Love
right?
That. How long do you think it'll?
Sense?
How long will it take you to get to that 10 to 20% mark? So we're looking at $100,000 at the most. How long would it take you to save that for 20% on a $500,000 house?
Yeah, that's a good question. So right now, my wife and I each put 5% into our retirement, right? So if we were to keep that and just continue saving as if we have done for our emergency fund, I think by next September we'd be able to have that 20% for a $500,000 home.
Perfect. Do it. No brainer.
That's it. And you got to listen to what John said. John's right. We're going to go ahead and save for it, but we're not going to feel in a rush to do it.
That's right. And hey, I've talked about this on the show too. When my son was 1.5, maybe 2, we sold our home and moved into a dorm, a residence hall. It was a 1.5 bedroom. I mean, I bet it's 2-bedroom apartment. And my son was a maniac. He was super fun. But I'm telling you, you don't need to sprint out and go create this vision for this thing. Do it the right way. I want your kid to be born into a stress-free house, whether that is 650 square feet or that's 6,000 square feet. And the best way to assure y'all have a stress-free home is that y'all are communicating together, y'all on the same page, and you don't have money wars, man. And you can have some peace that this baby comes home to. So good for you for thinking ahead, man. But I'm with you 100%. Save that money, get that down payment, and then get back to investing as soon as you can.
John, I don't know if you have ever been back to, I'm assuming you have. Did you ever go back to one or the childhood home you grew up in?
Yeah.
Do you remember thinking this? This is what I thought. I was like, holy cow, this is teeny tiny.
Oh, dude. Yes.
But I remember as a kid thinking, man, my house is huge.
It was cavernous.
So many rooms.
I thought it was cavernous. My favorite is going back to, like, if you go back to your elementary school in the lunchroom, it felt like a football stadium.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go in there now, it's like you got to take a knee to get a drink.
Yeah.
And it's about 35 square feet total. Yeah, it's this little bitty thing.
And the reason I bring that up is I think it just really accentuates what we're saying here and what you're pointing out, that, you know what, it's one little kid. That kid won't even, to the age of 8, 9, 10, still won't have any kind of idea. I stayed in our first home until we were 12.
Yes.
And I remember going back years later at 22 going, how did we even get along in here? It looks like we would have sat on top of each other.
Yes.
And yet as I walked through each room of that house, going back in my recollection, I was like, I used to think this room was the coolest room ever.
Yes.
This is not a room. I have a walk-in closet as big as this now.
Again, it was made clear to me in a powerful way. When my son was 3 or 4, my wife got an opportunity to go teach at a school in Brazil, to go train some teachers as a part of a university project, and they paid for me and Hank to tag along. So we went down there, and dude, it was this magic. I had it all planned out, father, son. Toucans were flying around like they were just like blue jays. We were picking mangoes off of trees. It was this whole thing. He has zero recollection of that. None. Yeah. We rode donkeys and nothing. He has no recollection of that. Now, I'm sure he built some synapses. Dads can be trusted. All that. The time was good. He's got no memory of it. And the number of young parents who mortgage their souls because they have this image of, we got to have their own bedroom and it's got to be all decorated out. It's got to have all these giraffes painted on the wall by Banksy and all that. You don't need any of that stuff.
Not at all.
Right? You don't need any of that stuff. Do it the right way over. And this is from a guy who did it the wrong way, man, who leveraged my family into a massive hole that my kids got to live the stress getting out of that hole, right?
I'll take you back to when Stacey and I lived here in this area for the first time, and we bought our first house. And I remember it was $195,000. And the stress that it brought me.
Oh, dude.
3-bedroom. It was a nice little house. Starter house. Okay.
The house is $11 million in Nashville right now.
Yeah, but we barely made any money on it 3 years later when we moved to Atlanta. Here's my point. If I had to do all over again, I would have probably just rented, and instead of putting a down payment on, I would have invested that,
That's right.
saved it until we got to Atlanta, rent for a while. We made some decisions that I'd do all over again now going, it was the two of us.
Absolutely.
We should have been in a teeny tiny little matchbox of a house.
That's right.
So that's the idea, folks. Don't get this fever for impressing other people or creating a situation where your status feels really good, but it's not doing anything for your lifestyle at all. That's the rub. Be careful of that. Really appreciate the call, Tom, and we're so excited for your future. You're doing this thing the right way. All right, don't move. He's Dr. John Deloney. I'm Ken Coleman, and you're listening to The Ramsey Show. More coming up.
If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Visit Blinds.com to save up to 45% off everything site-wide. Go to Blinds.com now to learn more.
All right, folks, glad to have you with us here on The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by John Deloney here for you this hour, 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. All right, John, you got to weigh in on this one. Today's question of the day comes from Kyle in the, this always makes me laugh when we say this, the official Ken Coleman community on Facebook.
Dude, I don't have a community.
Is there an unofficial Ken Coleman community?
Yeah,
I'm
there's
unaware
probably 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah. So here is the question. I'm a soon-to-be retired principal, and I'm looking for ideas for work outside of education. After 33 years in education, I would love to have some ideas of what people have done for work after the education career. Well, that's a big, big onion to peel. And if I were talking to you in person, Kyle, I would ask 2 questions. What did you enjoy most about being a principal or educator? Because presumably you were a teacher and you moved up. So if you look at your 33-year career, I want to know, as you look back, the tasks or the role that you played that you had great enjoyment. I want to write that down because those are clues to the future. And the second thing I would ask is the flip side of that. What part of being an educator or principal, what part of that role, those tasks, drained you? So in other words, what lifted you and what drained you? And I want those 2 separate lists. And here's why I would ask you to do that. In those 2 answers are the clues to your future. I would also say, John, and I'm curious to know your take on this as an educator, former educator, I don't think that he needs to be looking necessarily in through a different lens. Different area, yes, but I think once an educator, always an educator. Once an instructor, always an instructor. Different environment, different industry.
That's right.
Yes, but I'm guessing that his answers to those 2 questions are going to reveal the type of work that he will do in the future. And I think he will always be, in some ways, an instructor, a leader, an administrator, just different context. That's
right.
Where I'd start looking. Roles that are similar, but different lanes, because he's got great experience to offer.
That's
thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's easy to feel like I've done 33 years in a box, and I'm useless outside of this box. And so when I read this, I was thinking, okay, I've hired a ton of people in my career, Kyle. Back when I was working at university specialty, I can't even count how many people I hired. The number of people who I would like to have the experience of dealing with angry parents, dealing with nonsensical local politicians, being able to write, you got to be able to write, to be able to deal with crisis and intervention, to be able to deal with you as a principal. Let's say you're an elementary school teacher, elementary school principal, you've got 30 to 75 direct reports. All the teachers report to you.
That's right.
You've got to deal with all kind of drama. I can't think of a person who's more fit to walk into just about any industry just want to walk into, Kyle. It's you deciding what do I want to do, and you going into those conversations knowing I'm not useless just because I'm outside of the box I was in for 33 years. In fact, it's the opposite. I can bring a whole new perspective on customer service, on dealing with crisis, on taking care of people who are hurting, on dealing with institutional drama, which is about every company on planet Earth right now. You can do anything. So really, it's going back to Ken's questions. What do you want to do? I do know educators who did not want to talk to a human, right? Like, I've done it for 33 years. I loved math, and I became a math teacher. I'm done talking to people. Awesome. It's clarity. Like, I know I don't want this, but you hit it on the nail on the head, Ken. Most of us who are in education end up in some sort of teaching role, a human relations role, human resources role, where we're honoring and taking care of people.
Because it's very, and you just
who we are.
The operating word here is people.
Right.
So what people work am I good at? Mm-hmm. What people work do I enjoy?
Yes.
Different way of asking the same question I just listed. But that's simple. Then you go, okay, great. And it's about what you want to do, because the message is you can do so many different things. John, the experience and skill that anybody gets over 33 years is wildly valuable.
Right.
So let's start with that narrative. That's the proper mindset. I've got something to offer.
Yeah.
Where do I want to offer
Where do I want to offer it? Yeah, especially in this job market.
Yeah, we follow the heart.
Let me tell you this. This was, in fact, I may call your show one day. You can help me unpack this.
That would be great.
I remember explicitly, so my dad was a SWAT hostage negotiator. So when someone was going to jump off a building or somebody had a bomb, my dad, they called him, and he walked in, and he was kind of the all shucks guy. He would sit down and say, talk to people, like, hey, what's going on in your life? Tell me about your kids. And I remember calling him one night when I was finishing a crisis call. I just had to tell a mom that her young kid had passed away. It was a hard night, but I remember leaving and asking and reflecting to myself on my drive home. It's 2:30 in the morning. The neighborhood's asleep. I'm driving home, and I called my dad the next morning, and I said, what do I do when I realized that the thing I'm best at in the world is giving people really hard news with grace and being there with them in that first moment, that first aftershock moment. And I called him because that's what he was great at. And he said, he gave me he said, be really grateful you found it.
Right.
And now become really good at that skill and make sure you've got an environment that allows you to do your job well. Because that meant you're going to have some good friends. You're going to have a counselor. You're going to have to be on the same page with your wife, because what you're good at is really hard. Mm-hmm. So Kyle may sit down and go through, like, here's what I really loved. You know what I really loved? I really loved dealing with drama. It took my soul from me, but I was really good at it, and it fired me up. So that means I'm going to have to create a world where I'm going to go into another corporation, help them deal with their institutional drama, with their HR issues, or people fighting with each other. And I'm going to have to create a world where I can do that in a healthy way.
It's a really good point. Let me jump in, because I don't think you meant to say it, but it didn't. The hard stuff didn't take his soul away. The hard stuff for you're still doing it every day.
That's right. Right. It
depletes you.
It depletes me.
But now here's the key.
Yeah.
In the moment, it does not.
No.
In the moment, it fires you up.
Yes.
And John's heart, if we were to think of it like an engine with pistons,
it's running and gunning.
It's going like this, and it's great. When you're done,
yes,
and you leave a show, or you leave a live event,
I'm wiped out. Yeah.
But here's the difference, and your dad's advice was right. You cannot give what you do not have.
That's right.
So a person who, and I think there's some people that listen to us today that feel burned out. And what happens is, John, if you don't replenish after being depleted, so you've given everything you got. When you were in those crisis situations at 2:30 in the morning, you're all alarms, everything you got. You get in the car on the way home, and it's like a balloon that's lost all of its air.
That's right.
So how do we fill John back up? Right. And so this is the thing. But if we don't figure that part out to go, wait a second, I should feel exhausted.
I blame the job, and I walk away from something that I love and I'm great at, right?
No, what you got to blame is your process for filling back up. Right. So now we got to go to your dad's point. He was so on it.
Yeah.
Your wife, your friends, exercise, nutrition, all the things we're learning. Our bodies are machines.
Yeah, you got to take care of them.
And we got to support the heart. Because if we go heart all the time, no matter how many times I say, follow your heart, don't miss the other part of the advice. I got to follow my heart, but I cannot give what I do not have.
Right.
And so if
you got to change the tires, and you got to change the oil.
Yeah, because I got to go home and give to Stacy.
That's right.
and the 3 kids. I'm also a relational being. I'm not just this occupational dude.
Right.
And so I think that's the thing that is so important to understand. There's only so much your heart can do if you don't replenish your body. And so...
And vice versa,
What would you do? Would you go watch a funny movie? I mean, in all honesty, like those crisis situations in that law enforcement, what would you do to replenish?
I was fortunate to have a supervisor that would call me at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, walk me through what you just saw. How are you doing? And that was
So that helped?
You get out of your body, you start talking about it. Yeah, grief demands a witness, right? So I just saw some stuff, I'm experiencing it. Occasionally I went in and woke up my son and hugged him after a hard one. And
that's a real transfer of energy there.
I needed to put my hands on my son and say, he's still here, right? And then there was moments the next morning when I went and called the counselor and said, I just need a debrief and just going to vomit and I'm going to leave and we'll high five. So everyone's got a different process, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what works for me, folks, when I'm giving advice and speaking all day, I got to go home and read something. I got to learn something. If I'm learning something, I now have something I'm excited to maybe pour back out.
That's cool.
Whatever your thing is, John, that's incredible advice. Hey, don't move. More of your calls coming up. Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by my colleague John Deloney. We're here for you, taking your questions about your money. We're also taking your questions where John and I tend to focus all of our time in our separate shows on the Ramsey Network, and that is relationships and your mental health with the good doctor here. And then I don't have a degree, so I got no title. I'm just a guy who was pretty miserable for a while, John, and realized I was longing for more meaning in my work, and I figured it out, and now I tell other people.
Yeah, but you know what you have? I don't have
how I got there.
An official Ken Coleman Facebook page,
Is
a
that
Facebook
right?
group.
Well, I feel very special.
I don't have one of those.
Yeah, I feel very special. But that's not going to help me when I check in at places and I go, Dr. Ken Coleman. I got a friend. We have a mutual friend who loves to drop the title out. You don't do that. No. We got a mutual friend. I won't say his name, but he loves to
exactly
when he checks in. It's like, dude, nobody cares.
So in my life,
nobody cares.
My mom was Dr. Deloney first, and then my wife was Dr. Deloney second, and so like, I'm just like this knucklehead at the table.
Yeah, you just needed to keep up.
They're like, ooh, feel fancy,
That's
idiot.
fantastic.
Take out the trash. Exactly.
I'm impressed. It's just too much schoolwork for me, folks. I have ADHD. I don't do well in school. But hey, anybody wants to give me an honorary doctorate, I'll sign up for that.
I'll take it all day.
Hey, we got a lot of new listeners, John. We see the data. It's very exciting. And I just want to say, if you're new to this show, there's a lot of lingo, a lot of baby steps talk, a lot of stuff that John and I will say on a regular basis. And some of you are going, man, I feel like I just jumped in and it's about 55, 60 miles an hour. So we have some genius people. It's probably James, our fearless producer. If you go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button, we're going to help you figure out the next best step for your journey to get where you want to go. So don't feel overwhelmed. Go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button, and that's going to help you. And by the way, welcome. The water's warm here. We're glad you're here. All right. Also,
and it's not because somebody peed in it.
Yeah. Well, if anybody would, it would be you.
That's actually fair.
That's fair. Hey, you know what else is kind of confusing? Not just jumping into a show that's been around for 3 decades, but also dealing with your taxes.
Oh my gosh!
That's why I hire a specialist, John, because I would be in jail. Not because I was dishonest, but because I'm a disaster. But it doesn't matter. The IRS doesn't care. They don't care about your disaster excuse.
No.
They're going to lock you up.
Right.
And we want you to get your taxes right. And some of you need the help, and some of you can do it with just a little bit of guidance. So we've got a couple of tax tips for you, all right? If you picked up a side hustle or started a business this last year, you've got a new tax to pay. It's called the self-employment tax, and that's tricky. And the most important thing to be able to navigate all the tax nuances is to get organized. Gather receipts, any tax forms for your income, as well as all your expenses. But we have a free tax prep checklist that's going to take all the fear out of this. You can find it at the Ramsey Solutions website. And if this sounds like too much for you, welcome. That's me. This all scares me. My eyes begin to roll around in my head. It's not good, John. And so I go to a Ramsey Trusted Pro, one of our endorsed local providers who can help you with everything, prepare your taxes, and make sure that you are making the most and also not going to jail. Go to RamseySolutions.com/taxpro. That's RamseySolutions.com/taxpro. That's one bill, John, that I never mind paying.
Nope.
I don't want to rat Stacy out. She's not listening, so she'll never know. But she's always like, man, feels like they're charging us more every year. And I go, babe, who cares?
Whatever.
Pay that bill. That's peace of mind that I don't have to, bang pots and behind jail or whatever. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a good. I don't know what that is either. James is like, what is banging pots? I was trying to come up with an image from. What's that Tim Robbins movie?
We watch different
Morgan
jail
Freeman?
movies, I think.
Yeah,
Shawshank.
apparently.
Shawshank. That's right.
Shawshank Redemption. Yeah, either way, we need to move on before I get myself into more trouble. See, just the very thought of doing my taxes fritzes my brain out.
I know.
And you're watching a guy melt down right here live on the air.
Pets'
Thank goodness.
heads are falling off.
Yeah, but Austin's waiting, and he's standing by with great patience. Austin in Madison, Wisconsin. Austin, how can we help?
Hey, guys. Glad to be on and talk to you. So I'm currently in a situation with work where climbing the ladder is like an impossible thing. It's my wife's family's business, and the reason it concerns me is I started there about 4 years ago after a tour overseas, and I make the same amount I did 4 years ago. They're not great about negotiating pay increases, and then I also want to set an example for my kids to go out and challenge themselves and do something different than what I'm doing. But
hey, Austin, let me jump in really quick. It's a two-part question. Number one, what is making it feel impossible? Is it just the fact that every time you bring this up, it doesn't get addressed, or is a hard no? And that's the first question. The second question is, if all of a sudden you sat down with them today, let's say we were able to give you some master tip, and you sat down with them and they gave you the raise, would you be calling us right now? What's the first question? What's the first answer?
Yeah, can you repeat that part?
What is it? What makes it feel impossible? What evidence do you have in your mind that says this is impossible to get a promotion?
This business started 50 years ago, and one of the guys that works there has gotten 4 pay increases in 50 years.
Okay, that's pretty good evidence.
Business. So there's been plenty of people in and out the door as times go on and prices go up and people ask for a little bit more. And it's always a hard no.
Okay, and so the next question is, if for some reason they begin to give you regular raises and promotions, would you still be thinking about leaving?
Probably not, no. I enjoy the work for the most part.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Now, here's why I asked that question. I think it's time to leave.
Quit.
But I wanted to know, did you enjoy the work? And the answer is you enjoy the work. So in these kind of situations, John, it can create confusion for us because we've got a little bit of a wrestling match, Austin. And the wrestling match is this. I really enjoy the work, but I don't feel I'm being recognized and rewarded. And so it's a cocktail of confusion. Enjoy the work, but then you don't feel good about yourself because of the environment you're in. So all that to say, you know what kind of work you enjoy. We're looking for that in Madison, Wisconsin.
In Austin, you're in kind of a strange cocktail here where you've been tasked by your wife's family to take care of her, right? Like be a good steward.
Yep.
And also, we're going to pay you less than you're worth or less than you're out in the market. So it's this conflicting world. And what I want to tell you is be a good steward of your family and be a good steward of your work ethic and the things that bring you joy, and treat her family with dignity and respect as you leave and it's time to go. And don't look back for one single second.
Not at all.
It's a great season. It's fun. Cool. Bye.
Absolutely.
In Austin, would you rather make yourself and your wife and your family happy, or the family members who are your leaders happy? Which one would you rather make happy?
I'd definitely rather have my family happy. And the only obstacle that comes with it is my wife is very attached to how hard her father works. and how hard it is to replace somebody in these positions.
I get it. But have you talked to your wife? Actually, I want to bring John in on this. I want to bring John on this. What's the conversation been between you and your wife on this decision?
It's hard for her to even talk. Like if I come home from a day and it's like, it's so hard to be efficient. I love efficiency. It's hard to be efficient because the shop's filled with stuff. And at the moment I say that, there's like a pack rat in there that doesn't allow you to have space to work, her head kind of goes down or to the side.
But that's because she internalizes that business. That business is her mom and dad.
Exactly.
So when you talk about the business, you're clowning on her mom and dad, which I don't care how long you're married, that's never cool.
Mm-mm.
And so
no.
She is asking you to fix a problem that you can't solve.
Bingo.
Right.
And that's not your job. Your job is to honor her, take care of your family, and provide for your family with whatever arrangement y'all have set up. And so I think it's a clear conversation with her. Hey, I'm going to begin looking for work elsewhere, or start having quiet conversations elsewhere. And when you land something, then sit down and say, "Here's the transition I'm going to make," and hope you'll join me in this.
Yeah. Austin, you got to do it. You got to do it. So let's win your wife's heart on this. JD, always good to be with you, sir. I want to thank James and the crew behind the glass for keeping us on the air. I want to thank you, America, for listening. This is your show. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey, it's Ken. If you love the show and want a deeper dive on your money journey, we have a weekly newsletter that gives you trending and helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for our newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio. This is The Ramsey Show. This is where we talk about your life with you, specifically your money, your relationships, and your work. 3 inextricably fancy word there. It just means they are absolutely connected. There's nothing you can do about it. We want you to win in all 3 areas, because if you're not, it's affecting the other areas. We want you to win in all 3 areas, and that's why we do it. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by Dr. John Deloney. 888-825-5225 is the number to jump in. We'll take your calls on any of those subjects. 888-825-5225. All right, John, to that end, when you and I are together for the Building Wealth Live events, we do a fun pre-show where we talk about work and love, relationships and work, and how they are in absolutely connected. And I shared something on my show earlier today, the Ken Coleman Show, that I honestly would have loved to have had you in studio. And it was based on a comment that a guy made on social media to me recently. We were talking about people making money and that money's not enough. You can make a lot of money, but at the end of the day, that kind of wears off. And if you're miserable or you're not experiencing real meaning as you derive it, as in this matters to me, it can get pretty old fast. And a guy goes, "Oh, that's crazy." And he's like, "I'd I'd shovel this, So my question to you is, what miserable work would you do for $1 million? Is there work?
My stock answer is there's very, very few jobs on planet Earth I would not do for
that you would not do
for $1 million, right?
And my response to that is no, you wouldn't.
It's exactly right. I would do it for about 3 weeks, and then
that's because you're really tough,
and I wouldn't be able to take it.
Yeah, 3 weeks is a long time.
That's right.
All right.
I have found over the course of my career that when I find myself in moments without purpose or without meaning, or I don't feel like I'm contributing, I feel like I'm a glorified administrative assistant, or that I'm in a structure where success is not possible, the dollar amount matters zero.
Because what happens to you from your personal experience? You and I have both been there.
It's this awesome cascade of rage to anger to this to reality to pure boredom.
Yeah.
You start staring off into space. Like, what am I doing here?
Yeah. So this isn't just John and I's experience and opinion. John, what does science say? Can we, is it
Go
okay?
For it. Yeah.
Is it okay to look at some science? So scientists have found that monotonous work, in other words, using the word that John just used, boredom, boring work can negatively impact mental health, be a huge cause of stress, and ultimately lead to burnout. Well, let's go further. The chronically bored are at a higher risk for drug addiction, alcoholism, and compulsive gambling. In her paper, Neuroscience Reveals That Boredom Hurts, Dr. Judy Willis, a neurologist and former classroom teacher, claims that when we're bored, our judgment, goal-directed planning, risk assessment, focus, and control over our emotions all suffer. Yikes, John.
Yeah. And here's the crap.
All from boredom.
The crappy way we've set up in like corporate structures, business structures. I don't say corporate. Business structures is only a couple of people at the tip top get because they're so sophisticated and they're such good planners and thinkers. The rest of y'all mind your business and we'll pat you on the head and we'll tell you what to do later with your TPS reports. Instead of, I think you and I were talking earlier, Jocko so eloquently says, you better equip the frontline people to own this thing, make decisions, and go. And instead of minimizing or collapsing the decision-making structure and the purpose-making structure into a few elites. It's your industry will end. Your company will end.
Right.
That's the way you do it.
So the bumper sticker is, for those of you that are feeling this or those of you that are leading people, be careful of monotony, because monotony robs people of autonomy. And let's just, simple words, freedom. Freedom to make a choice.
And
freedom
it's a
to
cornerstone
do
of mental health, physical health, all of it, relational health.
So there you go. By the way, one last piece of data. Korn Ferry, a well-known management firm, polled nearly 5,000 professionals, and the top reason that people look for a new job is boredom. We as humans long for progress.
Yeah.
And in order to get progress, we must be challenged. That's what is at the core of enjoyment at work. Am I being challenged? The moment that I'm bored, I get distracted and I go distract myself with pleasure. But what I need is progress.
That's why I think the whole corporate speak, the whole leadership speak, we have it backwards. I don't think you climb the ladder. I think the more responsibility you obtain and are given, and the more people you have to serve in a leadership capacity, you're moving down the ladder, carrying more and more weight and passing along those opportunities for people to do hard things, to fail, have purpose, to go out and achieve and go. It's not reserved for a few highfalutin thinkers. If the more responsibility you get, you are moving down the ladder, carrying more and more of that responsibility and weight. That's what you're getting paid for.
That's right.
Right?
That's
it's to balance it all.
No question.
Not to stand up there and dust your journal off and to be like, don't trouble me with my thoughts. That's your people are, look around, man. They're going to leave. They're going to leave,
absolutely going to leave because they want a better life. You think you're trying to give them a better job. They want a better life. And until you realize the connection between the work, it's not just a better financial life. It's a better mental health.
It's better everything.
Everything, because we want to be challenged. So really interesting stuff there for those of you who feel stuck in one of those type jobs. John and I'd love to help you. Jump in. But let's get to James in Indianapolis, Indiana right now. James, how can we help?
Hey, guys. My name my question today is I'm 19 years old, and I'm thinking about getting married, and with that comes the engagement, the wedding, and then after that buying a house. And I'm wondering if I should be investing over, like a 6-year time frame, or if I should just be saving up cash that whole time.
When's the wedding?
I haven't even engaged. I'm thinking about it in the next year or two.
Do you have any debt?
No.
Okay, so you're familiar with our baby steps, right?
Yes.
So what baby step are you in? Are you in baby step 4, essentially?
4, yep.
Okay, great. I wouldn't...
Or 3B, I guess, technically.
So you're technically saving for a house right now?
I mean, sort of. It's kind of a 5-year vision.
How much
Dude, you've got horses and carts all over the place, man. Listen, brother, go get a job and work really hard. And if you're already at baby step, if you want to start saving for a house for yourself, great. If you think I'm going to be married in the next 24 to 36 months, save your money because you're going to want to make that a joint purchase with your wife. And then, dude, work really hard and put money put your 15% in your mutual fund through your 401 at work, or call a Smart Investor Pro. Go to RamseySolutions.com and click on Smart Investor Pros and go down that route. Or put it in a money market account and save your money, dude. Like, you are way overthinking this. Enjoy being young, and enjoy being engaged, and enjoy being married, man. The rest of that stuff will work itself out.
Yeah.
Just follow the baby steps. Don't get too sophisticated.
Yeah, so don't stop the baby steps. One foot in front of the other. Let's make sure she says yes. That's what I'd be locking in on. Let's close the deal, John. Got to make sure she's going to say yes so we can move forward on everything else. But thank you for the call. Hey, he's Dr. John Deloney. I'm Ken Coleman. This is The Ramsey Show.
We've been doing business at Ramsey for more than 30 years. By now, we're a well-oiled machine, but it wasn't always that way. Yes, we've always had a vision, always had determination, and a drive to help people. But what we didn't have was one central place to access all our numbers so that we could get further ahead or quickly see when we needed to pivot. We were always jumping back and forth between different systems and spreadsheets. So when NetSuite by Oracle helped us wrangle our revenue, inventory, expenses, and more into one place, it was a game changer. And NetSuite's #1 cloud financial system can help your business gain the same visibility, because businesses thrive on timely data. And NetSuite's real-time analytics can help your business have immediate access to your numbers daily, so you always know where you stand and you can move quickly. So go to netsuite.com/Ramsey today and set up a free product tour. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back, America. You have joined the conversation here on The Ramsey Show, helping you with your money, your relationships, and your work. I'm Ken Coleman. Dr. John Deloney joining me in studio this hour. A lot of you are planning to move sometime soon. And while that's exciting, got to be real. In most places around the country, you're going to be facing sky-high home prices, and interest rates aren't returning to their record lows. So that doesn't make home ownership impossible. But if you want to buy or sell, you've got to make sure you're financially ready and that you've got a trusted and experienced real estate agent to walk you through it. Not a family friend like Uncle Larry, who just got his license last month. Someone who knows what they're doing. They've been doing it for a long time, and they're going to take good care of it. You can find that high-caliber Ramsey trusted agent through our endorsed local providers program. We vet these agents from around the country so that you have the best support, whether you're moving from Florida to Alaska or buying your first home somewhere in between. You know, I kind of expected you to come in with a little Lee Greenwood from the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee. I thought that would have been good there. Go to RamseySolutions.com/agent. RamseySolutions.com/agent to find a Ramsey trusted real estate agent today. That's important.
Now that song's going to be in my head.
I know. I've done it. I've gone and I've ruined it and messed your track.
From the lakes.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. See, you almost did it. Hey, let's get to the phones. Now's the time to stop singing, John. Antonia is joining us in Detroit, Michigan. Antonia, how can we help?
Hi, how are you?
We're having a blast. What's going on?
So my question today is, I don't trust my boyfriend with money.
Uh-oh.
Do we have a future?
Whoa.
I want to back that question up. Let's stop it. You added a second part to it that is not super necessary. You don't trust your boyfriend, period.
Yes.
What else do you not trust him on besides money?
I found like him on these like social media, like talking to other women. He feel like it's not cheating.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bye.
What's his explanation for that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What's his explanation? Because you said he doesn't think it's cheating, so I'm curious, what does he call that?
Yeah, I told him, I'm like, that's cheating. Oh, it's not cheating because it's not in a physical form. I'm like, you're like lusting over women you're seeing online.
Oh, boy.
Bro, dude. Those gas lights are burning brightly, aren't they? Listen,
Yes.
Let me ask you this. So he's not here to defend himself.
No.
So let me ask you. You're the only person I got to talk to. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Why do you think so little of my friend Antonia that you're settling for this?
Well, it's not that.
Yes, it is.
I think.
Yes, it is. Why?
Well, maybe you have a point. So, I'm a single mother.
Yep.
With a 3-year-old son. I'm new to motherhood.
Mm-hmm.
Me and the father, it didn't work out. I injured my back at work. So, and I needed this surgery. So I ended up gaining all of this weight. You know, like when you have a partner, you expect your partner to be there for you. And I feel like I didn't get that because, like, when I was off work for a year, when we have fights or anything, the first thing he bring up is, oh, I paid your rent. Well, I'm like, well, like, you might as well say you're a roommate because you live here. We're not married, you know. So it's a little bit of everything.
So
is he's a bit of security. Even though he's not treating you well, it's like, well, at least he's done that. He was, right.
Well, but here's the thing so it's really common that all these other stories that we are told eventually become the stories we tell ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got a narrative that you're worth less because you gained weight. You've got a narrative that because you got hurt and you reached out to the person who was supposed to be your partner in this adventure called life, called raising a kid, and he weaponized that against you and said, well, look at what I'm doing for you. You have this story that you're a single mom and that you're now somehow less than. All those stories are false. 100% of them.
Yeah.
They're not true.
I agree.
And so I do 1,000% believe that whoever you're dating is probably a lot of fun, is probably makes you laugh, and probably makes you feel loved. And all three of those things are amazing. And he's making other women feel that way too. And when you say, I have a need I'm uncomfortable with, he makes you feel crazy and stupid for having that thought or need or feeling, not supporting you.
Yes.
And so you don't trust him on a number of different issues. Money is one of them. I was a train wreck when it came to money, but I was a trustworthy guy. Does that make sense? I would never tell somebody like, man, that my husband spends like crazy. We figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
If I had said, and I was baiting you a little bit when I said, what else do you not trust him on? If you had said nothing, he's actually super ironclad, he's trustworthy, then that would have been a different answer. But you're not going to like this. At the end of the day, you don't trust you.
Yeah.
And I want you
I agree.
to reinvest in you.
That's exactly right. Let's stay there for a second. Antonia, you called and asked us, do we have a future? You know the answer, but John's right. You don't trust your answer, so you called these two yahoos to see what our take was. But your answer is what? Do you have a future with this dude, yes or no?
I don't think so.
No. But see, it's the I don't think so. John's onto something. You don't trust your own judgment to kick this guy to the curb.
And you're worthy of being trusted, dude. You're an awesome mom. You're a great employee. You're a good friend. You're worthy of being trusted.
Thank you.
Is that fair? And I'm not just blowing smoke at you. Hey, trust me, you've listened to this show.
I get it.
if you were out to lunch, we would tell you.
John, I'm asking a question on behalf of my friend.
Okay.
Just because we make a bad decision and we kind of take good judgment out of the equation for someone in a relationship doesn't mean that we have bad judgment the rest of our life. True or false?
False. Yeah. In fact.
But is that what's going on here? She knows it wasn't a good decision. Maybe she's made some poor relationship decision. Now all of a sudden she goes, I just don't make good decisions. But that's not true.
Well, I think it's easy to, and tell me if I'm wrong, Antonia, it's easy to feel like you're a single mom. Someone's told you you've got these defects. I'm the only one that's ever going to love you. I'm the only one that's paying your rent with my money. It's easy to make that that voice into your own voice, and you start telling yourself,
like the manipulation.
That's right.
Boom.
And then somebody walks along and they're willing to give you half of themselves. Right? I'll tell you I love you. I'll tell you you're pretty. I'll help pay the bills,
And brag
you start to
about
think
it.
that's all. Yeah, and then and want credit for
You're
it.
getting me for a discount,
Exactly,
baby.
and you start thinking, well, this is all that I'm ever going to get.
Yeah.
This is all this is going to be.
100%.
And when this is especially real in couples that experience infidelity, people often think that like finding out that the person you're married to or you love cheated on you is the most devastating part. That is devastating. But the most devastating long-term thing, I think, is you lose trust in yourself. I can't believe I missed that. I can't believe that I'm worth this little. I didn't even know what a loser I was. Like, you lose trust in yourself, and it's hard to do anything. It's hard to get a job. It's hard to stand up to your kids. It's hard to do anything in your community because you feel so small. And so I want you to hear Ken and I telling you, stand up, man.
Yeah.
You're worth too much. You got too much value, and somebody's going to recognize you for who you are. And I also don't want to blow smoke at you. You probably need to go talk to somebody. You probably need to get a group of women in your life where you can practice standing up on your own 2 feet right now. The greatest gift you can give somebody in the future is you working really, really hard on you in this season. Is that?
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like, I know it's like he weaponized because I like, I'm a victim of molestation and things like that. So he uses that, and that I suffer from anxiety.
Done. Hey, anybody who weaponizes that sort of pain, done.
Yep.
Done.
He's
done,
manipulating
done.
you. You know what? James would never allow it, but if we had time, I'd call the guy up for you right now, break up with him for you. I would dump him for you. Wow. It's not the kind of show we do. John, it's probably not healthy, but that's what I would like to do. This dude is a loser, and we know what we do with losers. We fire him. We get rid of him. You're out. You're done. No longer does he get to play in your world. You are worth so much more. Antonia, thank you. We believe in you. This is The Ramsey Show.
Y'all, there's a lot you can't control when it comes to healthcare, but there is something you should check out that can help. Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is not insurance. It is budget-friendly, biblically based health cost sharing. That means a community of members helping share the burden of each other's healthcare costs. They help people just like you in all 50 states. So see if CHM could be right for your family. Learn more today at chministries.org/budget.
Welcome back, America. You've joined the conversation here on The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by Dr. John Deloney, and in the lobby of the Ramsey World Headquarters on the debt-free stage is Wesley and Brett. Welcome.
Thank you.
You guys ready to do a debt-free scream, I assume?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. Okay, let's get the details. Let's get the story. How much debt did you pay off?
We paid off $61,611.
Wow.
Not that we're counting every dollar.
I'm going to round it up to $62,000 for my feeble brain. And how long did it take?
14 months.
14
Whoa, y'all
months.
were cooking.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was your range of income during this time?
Started at $142,000 and ended at $160,000.
Oh, tell me about that. What did we do to get it up to $160,000?
Just normal pay increases and just working some overtime.
Okay, great. What do you guys do for a living?
I am a registered nurse.
Oh, good.
I'm an aerospace technician.
Oh, in other words, I'm a genius. I can't even spell those two words together. That's impressive. All right, great. So, okay, 14 months ago, take us back. What was the genesis for this journey where you guys really got after it?
Yeah, it started a little further back than that for me. It started back in August of 2015. I realized that I was incredibly broke, like $8 broke. And about 500 of that wasn't mine. And so I needed to do something. And I turned to Mom, and she was like, hey, remember that Dave Ramsey guy I told you about?
And I was like, no. She's like, well, maybe you should listen to it. So I listened to the Total Money Makeover and realized that I needed to change and do something different. And then we met about 4.5 years ago. And that was kind of my start.
I started on my own as well. I just found the Total Money Makeover in the library and just decided to pick it up. Read through the book, started trying to implement it, and I was in my former marriage. I found out that you need a partner that's going to be willing to go through the process with you. So really, I used some of the things. I used the budget, just a basic budget, but then couldn't really go through with.
You were all in, is what you're saying, and then you guys meet, and so I'm just curious. You guys both knew about Dave, and on some level were going after it. At what point in the dating relationship do we realize, hey, we both are aware of this concept, and then how did that bring you guys together?
The first date?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gross.
It was
Gross.
Who brought it up first?
That'd be me. That would be me. I basically said, you're either, like, you have to do this with me, or we're not doing this.
I like this.
Did you also happen to mention, hey, and I know you're an aerospace engineer, but quit hanging out in libraries? Did you mention that too?
He likes the library.
Yeah, that's fair. Good for you, man. Good for you. I do too.
So, yeah, and we got married, and we've been married just over 1.5 years, and tackled it right when we combined everything.
Oh, so this was your newlywed project.
This was a newlywed project.
Yeah.
This was date one of dating life, and then we got married.
Will you do me a huge favor? How did the conversation go that way? Because I can just imagine, like, you're beautiful, and he's like, man, I can't believe I got a date with her, and you like order the appetizer. Hopefully, it was the most expensive one, and then you lean over and you say, if you want this comes with Dave Ramsey. And like, how did that happen?
I think I was like, how do you feel about debt? And he's like, well, I have some, but I don't really like it. And I was like, okay. I was like, do you want to get out of it? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, we can continue.
Wow.
And
okay.
We just, it was basically like, are you in or not? And it worked from there.
Wow. So let me ask you this. What was the debt comprised of?
It was some family loans, student loans, credit card.
I think that was the it of yours.
So how much did you each clean up before you got married?
I cleaned up about 50 in about 5 years before we got married.
Okay.
And the 62,000-ish was mostly mine. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you still said yes.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Hey, well played, Wesley. Lead with that next time.
Yeah. So, but we also cash flowed a wedding right before that. We cash flowed that. And we also cash flowed some medical bills, about $12,000 worth of medical in the middle of all of this.
Wow.
So it was quite the journey. We had to dig deep.
So what does it take? People are listening in right now. What would you all say to those folks that are wondering, can it be done? And if so, and I know you believe the answer is yes, so what's the key?
I think, one, having a partner is huge. Having somebody to do it with you makes a huge difference. That really was kind of the ticket to get it done so quickly. I was like, and the budget for sure. The budget is life-changing.
Mm-hmm. Who are your big cheerleaders?
Parents, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Those people over there. Parents, his parents, who aren't here with us today, like in the studio, but parents for sure were huge. We had a lot of questions about, like, why don't you have a credit card? It's fine. Nah.
Oh, those are from the friends.
Those are from friends.
Yeah.
A lot of people had questions.
And what was the key to kind of drowning those voices out?
Trusting it, I guess. Trusting the plan. Trusting the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
What is it like being an aerospace engineer rolling up to work in a used Corolla? Like, because your coworkers kind of have a sense of what you make, and they know you're married to a medical professional, and they look at you and like, what are you doing, dude?
I have, you see a lot of really nice cars out in the parking lot, and it's not a Corolla. It's an Escape, so it's not the flashiest vehicle. But yeah, just knowing that later on, if we want to get those flashier vehicles, we can go ahead and do that.
I'll be honest with you. I like the Corolla more than the Escape. I wouldn't be acting like that Escape's better than a Corolla. I mean, come on.
He's like flexing over there.
He's trying to
Corollas
flex
are
on us.
awesome, man.
Like, I don't know, man. No, we're just giving you a hard time. That's really fun. So, now what is it like on the other side of this? You guys haven't been married that long, and you've got this debt behind you. This is a big victory. You're standing on this stage today. It took a lot to get here. What does it feel like?
It feels really good. It's weird seeing money in our account.
And
like
it's
there's
not
like
going out the door as soon as it comes in.
There's a comma in the account.
Oh, I like that.
We didn't see commas for a long time. So,
and so how has it changed your vision as a couple? Because when you start this journey, we're now like laser focused. We're in a tunnel. Gazelle intense. Now here you are on the debt-free stage, about ready to do your scream. How has it changed your vision as a couple? What are you guys dreaming about, talking about?
I feel like we just know that we can do kind of whatever. I'm the spreadsheet nerd, so I have spreadsheets that show us our potential trajectory and where we're going and what our lives might look like in the future, and we can do what we want.
I love it. Well, and when you start talking about trajectory, you have an aerospace engineer for a husband. I mean, now he knows everything about trajectory. That would intimidate me. I love that you use that word. Okay, who do you got with you today to join you on the stage for the scream?
Brooke.
This is Brooke.
Brooke, and tell us about Brooke.
Brooke is 12. And she was with us.
Did she walk through this journey enough to where she knows what happened and how big of a deal this is?
Very much so. We've been talking about money and trying to teach her better than we maybe try to get her to listen better than we did.
Awesome.
Brooke, listen to him.
I love it. Good stuff. Well, hey, we've got a couple things we want to give you. Right here on the desk, we're going to give you a copy of Dave's Total Money Makeover for you to give to someone else, and you get to be a part of that legacy. And then you're on your way to being Baby Steps Millionaires. That's Dave's latest book, so we're going to give those to you as well as just a memento to say, hey, we're so proud of you. So let's do this. You guys ready for your scream?
Yeah.
Are you ready? And Brooke's ready too? I mean, like, really give it some volume here, Brooke. Are we ready? Okay, here we go. We got Wesley, Brett, and Brooke from the Denver, Colorado area here to do their debt-free scream. They're paid off $62,000. I rounded up in 14 months, making $142,000 all the way up to $160,000. Wesley, Brett, Brooke, it's time. Let's hear your debt-free scream.
All right, ready?
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free!
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, we got up there on the octave. That's pretty good.
Brooke brought it. She brought it.
It's always fun, isn't it, John, to see a family stare into a completely different future. It's awesome. No weight of debt, dreams galore, spreadsheets that support the dreams. That's why we do what we do. Big thanks to them for sharing their story with us. All right, don't move. We got to pay some bills, but we're coming right back. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. Dr. John Deloney is my colleague, and he joins me in studio this hour. The phone number for you to jump in is 888-825-5225. 888-825-5225. Let's go to Jackson, Mississippi, where Chris is on the line. Chris, how can we help?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We're having a blast. How can we help?
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Long time listener. I went to FPU in 2005, and
awesome.
I'm in baby step 4, so the process works, and thank you so much.
Way to go, man.
And, the reason I called is because I was in the United States Air Force. I retired after 22 years. And I've been in a job that was comparable to what I used to do when I was a younger troop, younger airman. And I kind of feel like I've been in the same place for about 5 years, and I feel like, man, what's next? And I'm kind of lost. I've listened to both of your books, and man, I've listened to Total Money Makeover like 50 times in the car, just trying to grind through to get to baby step 4. But I'm still like at a loss about what's next.
What's the time frame by which you need or want to make a decision?
I have no time frame. I can make a decision now or when I'm 65.
Okay, great.
I'm 45 years old right now.
Okay, so you can walk from the military at any time. You're not locked in for a certain amount of time.
I retired from the military after 22 years.
Oh, I missed that. I apologize. Okay, so are you doing anything right now? What are you doing for an occupation?
I am a test technician, yes.
Okay, and how much is that related to the type of work you did in the military?
It's fairly similar. However, if you think of it like this, when you stay in for 22 years, you typically retire around to be about an E7, so a senior enlisted leader.
Yeah.
This job that I took is kind of bringing me back to being more like an E4, more like a senior airman.
Okay.
And it was a nice little break at first, but I kind of missed the leadership part of it. I miss leading my guys. I miss that.
So that's what we've got to pay attention to is when someone presents themselves as, I don't know what's next. Let me tell you what I've experienced, Chris, and you can tell me if I'm wrong in your case. What that usually means is I've got an idea or two or maybe more, but I don't know how to make that transition. I don't know how to get there. I'm interested in these mountains. I'm not quite sure how to climb them. Is that what's really going on with you?
I think so.
What is it? All right, then why don't you just tell me, not worry about how it sounds. What is it that you want to do, more specific than what you just shared, which is I want to be leading people. You love leading a team of people. So specifically, what are you wondering about that you're not quite sure how to get to?
I think I have this roadblock in my head about not having a bachelor's degree. I think that's my biggest block that I have.
All right, let's play this out. All right,
okay.
Let's just assume you don't need a bachelor's degree because I'm here to tell you don't. What would you be doing tomorrow if you just snapped your fingers? Who would you be leading? Where would you be leading?
I don't know. People that wanted to be there, that's for sure.
Right. You get my point here? It's not industry specific.
No.
It's really experience specific. You have an incredible resume where you've led men and women. True or false?
True.
You're really good at leading men and women. True or false?
Medium.
Nah, that's a bunch of garbage. If I interviewed everybody that was ever under you, would they say that you're a solid, good leader?
You'd get a mixed bag.
All right. Okay. Did you learn something? Did you learn something from those times where and I appreciate your humility and honesty, have you learned from those leadership mistakes?
I have.
Okay. So you can come in and lead a team of people right now. True or false?
I could.
All right. So that's the mindset. So really we start looking at, okay, is there an industry that I'm more interested in than others? But I'm looking for management leadership positions in Jackson, Mississippi just to start. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, let's just say, all right, let's just see what's out there. But this idea that I've got to have a degree is based on a cultural trend that's been going on now for 60, 70 years where, well, it's kind of the way of weeding out the losers. But those times have changed. We're in a job economy right now where there are organizations near you that are looking for somebody that has the experience and the skill of leading people. They can train you to the nuances of the role. Do you believe that?
I do. That's really kind of you to say.
And Chris, if you walk into a business in Jackson, Mississippi, and they look at you and say, man, I appreciate 22 years of service, but you got to have that bachelor's degree. You don't want to work there, man.
That's right.
You don't want to work there.
Okay.
And if you were going to tell us, hey, I want to go be a nurse, and I want to go be a nurse practitioner, I want to go to med school or something, then we would tell you to go to college, man. But what you're telling us is you want to lead, and you want to get back into some management potential and lead a group of people to success. And you don't even care what the mission is. That's how focused you are at being a leader. At some point, Chris, you got to stop being Chris's own worst enemy, man. I think you are the person who believes in you the least among the three of us right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
You don't know me, John.
No, and hey, let me tell you this. The number of people, and I bet Ken's got similar, of my former students, my friends who were in the military who got out and immediately jumped into, quote unquote, their dream job or into med school or into law school. You did a very wise thing. You got out of the military and you just went and got a job.
Yep.
You got your feet settled back. You learned how this wacky culture. Like you got to re-enter humanity in a different way, and now you're ready for what comes next. So you didn't waste 5 years, man. You did a really wise, smart thing. Okay, quit beating Chris up and go get something good.
Thank you, sir. I got to thank Dave for that, because Total Money Makeover and the drive to work every single day has helped out quite a bit.
Listen, those are cool, but me and Dave and Kent, like, we just run our mouth on the radio, dude. And
y'all great.
We type. You're the one who's been putting in the work, driving back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. You're the hero on this deal. Okay?
Chris, I want to leave you with one thing. I'm going to give you my Get Clear career assessment that I think is a wonderful tool for you to take. 20 minutes or less is going to give you some real defined ideas around the work you love and the results that matter to you. But I'm just curious, when you're leading, what is the result that most fires you up? When you, at the end of the day, you go, you know what? This result was obvious, and that's what gives me great joy. How would you articulate that?
I think the best way I can explain it is when I've had some difficult troops that I really try to get through to, and I try to pour my heart and soul into them. And 10 years later, they say, hey, I really appreciate what you try to do for me, and I wish I would have listened to you more. That means a lot to me.
All right, now
I don't know if that's exactly what you're. I don't know if that's exactly what you're asking me.
No, it's exactly what I was asking for, because what you just revealed are the people you most enjoy leading. There's your clue. Where are the people? And when you called them difficult troops off the air when you're not under pressure, one homework assignment. I want you to write down what you now know as you look back on your time with those difficult troops, as you put it. What were their pain points? What was in their past? What were some threads that you can now look back and go, they all kind of shared this, or these were commonalities? Where are those people in Jackson, Mississippi? Who's serving them? That is where we want to get you to.
And dude, I'm telling you right now, this is probably not in your scope, but right when you said that, I thought you would make an incredible high school teacher, or incredible coach, an incredible
guidance counselor,
an incredible somebody that is not afraid to get in the messiness of other people's lives and walk with them from this messy moment to the light at the end of the tunnel, man. Yeah. And that opportunity is everywhere.
What are some nonprofit or even government mentoring programs? Look, listen, there are some young men out there who need to come into contact with you. Am I right?
I would hope so.
Stop
Chris.
Saying that.
What is going on? Chris, you've got a track record of breaking through with what you called problem or soldiers with difficulties, and they look back and said, what you said made sense. Chris, you got so much to offer. Go find those people who need that mentor, that coach, that guide. Chris, you got so much to offer. Thank you for calling. Thank you, sir, for your service. You're a great American. John Deloney, great hour. Always fun to be with you. James, the crew, thank you guys so very much. To you, America, this is your show. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Dr. John Deloney. If you love the show and want a deeper dive on your money journey, we have a weekly newsletter that gives you trending and helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Just go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for our newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio. This is The Ramsey Show, where we talk about your life with you, specifically your money, your work, your relationships. The phone number is 888-825-5225. I'm joined by Dr. John Deloney. I'm Ken Coleman, and we are here for you this hour. 888-825-5225. Let's go to Charlotte, North Carolina. Celeste is waiting there. Celeste, how can we help?
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call.
You bet.
My main question is my boyfriend and I should split rent 50-50 or by percentage of income in the future?
Say what? Are y'all moving in together?
So we've been discussing living together in the future. I'm 22. He's 23. He just graduated from college last year, and he's making 79 right now. I'll be done this year with making 65K. And I said I would prefer to be engaged before moving in together. And we're both lucky enough that our parents are fine with us staying home, saving up money, doing the baby steps. But he wants to get a townhome in a year and a half from now and wants me to move in with him and says he intends to marry me and that he'd propose before 2 years if we get along living together.
I would say if you were my sister or my daughter or my good friend, I would say he is out of his mind.
I would agree.
Okay.
And in this, I'm going to give this to you. Like, I'm a Christian guy. I teach Sunday school sometimes. Okay. So I'm going to put that out there. That's not like I'm bringing this. This is the data. Couples that move in together are more likely to get divorced. Because here's why. You play house, you practice, you feel like you're practicing marriage, but you do it without the hammered into concrete. Come what may, we're still going to be here together. And so it's like jumping out of an airplane and your parachute isn't fully tied up yet. And so I can tell you, if it wasn't for marriage, there's multiple times over the course of my 20 years with my wife, we would not still be dating. We would have broken up.
Wow.
But we're married and we both committed to each other. We're in this, come hell or high water, this is happening. And so we stuck it out and we had to figure out how to do something differently. Okay. So that's what here. And let me give you the other thing that's making me more uncomfortable than that. I also have to be honest. There's been plenty of people who move in together, get married, and their lives are fine. Okay, so I know that exists. I don't like the fact that you put a value down and your boyfriend blew you off and said, actually, we're going to do this. And if you're already doing that now, that makes me very uncomfortable about the future direction of this relationship. You said, I at least want to be engaged. I want to have all this paid off. I wanted this. And he's like, nah, if you move in with me in 18 months, you can try out for me for 6 months, and then I might get engaged after that. Screw that, dude. Forget that.
And Celeste, he's also saying, I get the benefit of you helping cover some of the mortgage.
You pay my bills, and you can practice being my wife, and then I'll let you know in 6 or 8 months if you made the team.
Celeste,
I guess I was thinking because he said it would be more like. Rent is really expensive here too, so he'd be helping me out too.
Oh, how cute!
That's what he spun it. He did a good job of selling you on it. But here's the deal: you want to find out if this dude's for you or not? You want to? Okay.
Yeah.
Tell him, hey, I thought about it
since middle school.
All right, but listen, you want to know? I'm going to tell you how to know. And John, you correct me if this is too intense, but I think I got it. Here's what I would do. I'd say, you know what? I thought about this, and I initially asked you to put a ring on it before we got into this decision. I don't feel comfortable with what you came back with because there's so many risks. You can quote some of the stuff that John said, go get your own data and just say whatever you want to do. And then I'd say, I'm going to go a step further though. I'm going to take advantage of the offer that my mom and dad have made for me, and I'm not going to move in with you until we get married.
Okay.
And then just stop. Just stop.
Like ultimatum.
No. Not an ultimatum. This is what I want to do.
If he hears it as an ultimatum and runs, that's on him.
That's where I'm going with this. I think he's going to reveal pretty quickly how much he wants you in his life. Because to John's point, this dude's got all kinds of conditions that honestly all benefit him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's got a live-in girlfriend who pays half his rent. He wins. He wins.
This is friends with benefits.
I didn't think that much about it.
And you help pay down his mortgage, and then y'all break up, and right. And by the way, I've got several friends that I've known since I was 0. Okay, we were like toddlers together. I've got several folks that I know from middle school. And they are dramatically different people when they were 22 than they were when they were 11. And they're super different now that they're in their 40s. Both good and both whoa. So just because you got history doesn't mean it's always right. And now, I want you to also take this. Ken and I are pushing on you. I'm not telling you to go dump him today. That's a decision you got to own. You can't call him and be like, hey, these two clowns on the radio told us. And that's on you.
That's right.
But we're trying to say, we both have daughters. We both got wives. We both got colleagues who are, and great friends who are strong professional women. Listen, I don't like someone blowing your needs off. Just being like, this is how we're going to do this. You're worth more than that.
Yeah, and listen, I'm going to echo what John said. Celeste, listen to me. We're not saying dump him. I'm saying give him an alternative vision if you believe in that. Now, I just told you what I would say. You may say, all right, I'm going to wait until the ring's on the finger. But I got to tell you, I want to see that this dude is committed to me. I'll just give you one other opinion that's based in experience.
Yes, please.
I'm going to hit 25 years of marriage in May. Okay?
Wow. Congrats.
Thank you. I'm not saying that to get the congratulations. I'm telling you, what John said is right. Stacy and I will celebrate that milestone, not because we're great husbands and wives all the time, not because we've got it cornered. You're not going to see a marriage book coming from Ken and Stacy Coleman, but we made it because we committed. It was all in. If Stacy had said, I want to wait to move in, I would have said, you got it, because I wanted to marry Stacy. I still want to be married to Stacy. I want to stay married to Stacy. That's why I've done all kinds of things. And John's right. I got married at 23. I'm not the same guy, thank God, that I was when I'm 23. But I also got a woman that's walked through that journey with me. We've gotten better as individuals. We've gotten better in our marriage. And we've had some tough times and really excruciating pain that we've had to walk through together. All I'm saying is we need to know if this guy is all in for the future. And if he is, it's not an ultimatum you're giving him. It is what you believe is right for you in relation to us. And then we're going to find out real quick, is he in it for the benefits or is he in it for Celeste?
And listen, last piece of little wisdom before we hang up on you. Under no circumstances, if you do move in with him, knock your lights out. Do not co-sign on a mortgage together until you're married. It creates a whole big legal mess. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by Dr. John Deloney. We're here for you this hour, 888-825-5225, taking your money questions, your work questions, your relationship questions, mental health, all of that stuff. John and I together, let's combo up for you however we can, 888-825-5225. Now, before we get back to the phones, John, you've got a very interesting story that I think has some very, very relevant cultural application here. What do you got?
So it's Seattle schools suing TikTok, Meta, and other platforms over the youth mental health crisis. This is out of Yahoo Finance. The article goes on to say Seattle public schools have sued the tech giants behind these programs, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Snapchat, accusing them of creating a mental health crisis among America's youth. The 91-page lawsuit suggests they understand and know and then exploit the addictive nature of social media, leading to a rise in anxiety, depression, and thoughts of self-harm.
Okay, Your Honor, if I put one of those old powdered wigs on you and the black robe and you're behind the big desk, do you accept this lawsuit or do you reject it just on merit alone, just on what you've read?
So under my understanding of what they know about the addictive nature of their platforms and how they work, and particularly the way, especially TikTok's algorithms are especially designed to capture kids. Yeah, I would accept it, absolutely. Where this in the roadmap for this legal case was made with cigarettes, right? Like, so people are all going to follow that blueprint, right? Y'all knew this was addictive. You knew it was killing people, and you put that research in a drawer, and you kept telling everybody it was fine. That's the path. Here's where this feels a little bit different to me. this is a very much a both and. I've got no problem with people taking on these big companies that are taking over our kids' minds. But parents have got to step up. Like you can't. I can't hand my kid a device to the universe and then get mad that people on the other end of that device. Like, it doesn't, like, all these devices have off buttons, all of them. They all do. And so if your kid is addicted to TikTok, Meta, other platforms, turn it off. Smash the phones. Dig a hole and bury them. Do something with them. But moms and dads have got to reclaim their minds of their kids. And I understand people got to travel and drive. And I know that I'm a Luddite when it comes to some of that stuff. And there is a balance there. And there's some emerging technology that allows for this kind of phone to just allow you to text mom. Oh, I get all that, all the arguments. What most of this comes down to, and I felt it myself, is every other kid is doing it too. And I want to encourage parents, be the only one. Be the only one in your friend group whose kids don't have a Facebook account or a Meta account and are living in the real world, not in metaverse nonsense crap on a stick. Like it's infuriating to me at that level. And somebody's got to take these guys on because, what does it say here? We have invested heavily in creating safe experiences for children. I love that, and dedicated features to prioritize their well-being.
This is a TikTok statement?
This is a Google statement.
Oh, Google.
Where I would challenge them is, they've done some great things trying to police child pornography. They've done some great things trying to police sex trafficking. To say they are trying to make their platforms less addictive and less keeping kids glued to them is patently false. And so they're taking one thing they're doing over here and trying to broadly apply it across their case. It's nonsense. Nonsense.
I want to take this another step because it's been reported, so I want to be very careful here.
Sure.
I'm not saying this is fact, but it has been widely reported that the Chinese version of TikTok
is different.
Is math and science related.
Right.
It is not all the pop culture and the entertainment.
Right.
If that's true, that asshole has to be a warning sign.
Right. Well, and it's
like, why is that the case?
Well, if you've got another country fiddling with the algorithm that tells our kids, look how great achievements in math and science are. This is what gets kids excited. This is what rallies around. We all know the research that we want to be like our peers, right?
Right.
And if you move the algorithm over here that suggests, hey, the next dance is the craze, and look at all the kids are doing, that's where kids are going to go. You could take over a country's kids without ever firing a shot. You can just make everything flashy.
I think I hear what you're saying.
And put on the right music, and we're off to the races.
And I completely think that's what's going on. I mean, this is bigger than just parenting.
Right.
This is bigger.
It's big, multi-billion, billions of dollars. And that's the, and let's be honest, I have an Instagram account, right? And if it went away tomorrow, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, completely agree. I mean, we got the teams trying to get me to do more over here. I'm slowly like adopting it because, again, I didn't grow up with that as the norm.
Right.
And so now we've gotten to a place where this is all the norm. So, okay, let's say they're successful in shutting down TikTok. What's the next Snapchat? What's the next Instagram? What's the next thing?
It's not a surprise that Questions for Humans turned into $1 million project because people are having a conversation for the first time and it feels right. Their bodies are settling in and going, I just experienced 30 minutes of eye contact with my 7-year-old, and I didn't know that was possible.
That's right.
And it feels right.
Yeah.
My granddad just talked to my 14-year-old son, and my 14-year-old son's face is always buried in his iPad, and they just had a long conversation. I like how this feels, right? And so I think eventually they shut some of this nonsense down, or I can't figure out a way to make this healthy. And so you shut it down, then people are going to have to look at each other in the eye and say, I guess you want to go out and play basketball? You want to kick a soccer ball? Like,
right.
You play Dungeons & Dragons? I don't care what it is, but we're going to sit around a table and look at each other and talk.
Yeah. By the way, the Questions for Humans card's available at RamseySolutions.com or JohnDeloney.com. But if you look at the cigarette application, which I think you're right, like when they went after the tobacco companies, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I don't know if the usage or the sales of cigarettes went down, up. I don't think it was a big...
I don't know.
So do you actually shut a TikTok down, a social media giant down with a lawsuit? I don't know.
Dude, that's beyond my pay grade. I just know that I guess it makes sense that they're going after him at the same time. I'm tired of us as a culture getting mad at other people for not teaching our kids things that we should be teaching at home.
That's the issue. I agree 100%. There's personal responsibility.
Like when people come after me, like, I don't want them teaching that stuff about. If I outsource spirituality to my local school, or to my private school, I'm failing my kids. Yep. That's my job. If I outsource connectivity, if I outsource love, if I outsource well-being to a school, I'm failing them. If I'm outsourcing, you need to protect what's going in my kid's head, schools go fight that battle for me, I'm failing my kids. That's my job, right? To take some ownership over that. And I'm just ready for parents to step back up, and not in the dramatic way we see on Instagram where everyone's like, oh, I'm fighting at the school board. No. I'm talking about being honest with your kids, being open with your kids, being connected with your kids. It's a totally different way of being, man.
Well, and honestly, if we got a lot of young parents that are listening and watching the show. Long before social media gets involved, it's the devices themselves.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's a babysitter at the restaurant.
It's what they call them. They call them the digital babysitters, man.
And I want to ask this. I know this is a deep rabbit hole we're not going to go down. How much longer, how many more years before we see some substantive research that tells us, should we be alarmed about all the device usage, or is it not that big a deal?
Peter Attia had an excellent discussion of an article that came out recently, some good research that suggests someone like me who's always raising the alarms, I'm probably misguided, that a kid in front of a screen is not the end of time. I liken that to giving your kid a couple of chocolate chip cookies every day. It's not going to kill there's no harm in that. But that often gives people license to just give their kids 70 a day. And that does have a long-term effect on your kid. I think it's very similar. If you're a parent that has the discipline to say, I'm going to watch this with you and we're going to discuss it when it's over, then screens can actually lead to connectivity. If it's a digital babysitter and you just want an hour of peace, which God help me, I got 2 young kids. I get that, man, so much. I'm just going to stick them in front of a screen so that I can breathe and stare off into space, or that I can scroll my Instagram. Now you got a problem.
Yeah, interesting stuff. All right, we'll see what the future holds around all this stuff. Thank you guys so much for listening in and watching. We're not going anywhere. Coming up, more of your calls. He's John Deloney. I'm Ken Coleman. This is the Ramsey Show. Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. This is where we talk to you about your life and your money, your relationships, your mental health, your work, all so that you can walk forward with clarity and confidence to live the life that you desire to live. We're here for you. I'm Ken Coleman. He is Dr. John Deloney. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Brianna is up next in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Brianna, how can we help?
Yes, sir. I just started the baby steps. I'm a new listener. I've been listening for maybe about a week.
Welcome to the gang. Yay! Welcome.
Thank you. I was wondering if it would be possible to start a nonprofit in the next 4 years. I have $2,600 in debt, and I'm planning to pay that off in the next 6 months. I was wondering if you guys had any advice on that.
You have $2,600 in debt?
Yes, sir.
Why is that going to take you 6 months to pay off?
Because I need to rework my payment plan, but I have originally planned to pay off $100 a week. But now, since I've been on your guys' show, I'm just going to throw my money at it. But
where do you work?
I don't know. I work at a Keith's Superstore. It's a gas station.
Okay.
And so I'm at part-time. I'm planning to go to college in hopefully next spring or next fall for business management, because I feel like my life calling is to help people who have lost their parents and stuff.
Awesome.
Because
That's a beautiful calling. Here's what I want you to do, though. I want you to get a second and a third job and work like a maniac and be done with this in 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even playing. And that might sound like you might be like, you're an idiot. I'm telling you.
No.
You can scrounge and work and get on Uber Eats tonight and start delivering. Do whatever you have to do. Get this thing out of your life in 30 days and be done. And you are going to walk 6 inches taller.
Yeah.
Okay? Be free of this and prove to yourself, I can do anything in 30 days. Anything.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
What are you making per hour right now, Brianna?
$9.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I love John's advice because I want you looking around Hattiesburg for hourly jobs. I don't care what it is.
Work full time.
I mean, I want you making $15 an hour. What needs to be true for you to make $18 to $20 an hour in Hattiesburg? That's the question I want you to answer. Because here's what happens. What John told you is right. Whether it's another job, 2 more jobs, or a better paying job, you walk these baby steps out. Before you know it, you've got 3 to 6 months of expenses in the bank. And now we look at our future very differently. And I want to challenge you on something really quick. The nonprofit that you want to start, how will you engage with people who have lost their parents? What is that? What is that going to look like?
Through word of mouth mainly, and I've already created a Facebook page for it to start to gather people because I know there's several support groups on Facebook that people follow, and I really want to reach out to these people, and mainly I'm focusing on the parent and their kids because I lost my mom when I was 11 to cancer, and there was no community that my dad nor I could reach out to talk about this stuff. And I was inspired by the Mississippi Diabetes Foundation because they have a 2-day camp for kids. They have a week camp. And so that's eventually what I want it to look like.
Great. Okay. So here's what I want you to do. So all the money advice John gave and that we've given you here on making more money and getting yourself stable is great. But I want you to press pause on going to school. I didn't say not go to school. But I want you to press pause until you can start volunteering at the least, working as a second or third job at the most for local nonprofits that are doing this kind of stuff and providing support in communities, maybe summer camps. You know, if you can kind of structure your world to maybe you're working an evening job in the summer so that you're not going to have a lot of sleep, but 1 week of camp a year at a minimum, where you're working at these camps and you're getting paid to observe and see how they're engaging, and it's going to further crystallize your vision for the future. And I want you to get aware of the world that you want to get into to the point where you can decide, do I need a business management degree, or do I need to just start working for some nonprofits and learn everything I can about running a nonprofit and get involved, build a community from the ground up in your zip code before we decide to start this in 4 years. I want to encourage you. I don't want you to be discouraged at all with what I said. But do you understand what I'm saying will allow you to have a better vision and not feel this pressure to launch this thing in 4 years? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I understand. And that's actually great advice because I learn more hands-on than I do from reading anyway.
Yeah, and I actually think what's going to happen in 2 or 3 years, business management might not make as much sense as getting a therapy degree or a counseling degree or a social work degree and learning the skills to sit with people who are hurting and then learn how to teach other people those skills. So running in and getting a business management degree may cap your growth in a little bit. You may have to go hire a therapist for a lot of money for your new nonprofit. All that to say is Ken's right. Take some time. Okay, take some time. I really want to see you have a full-time job and a side job on top of that. I want you, and by the way, working a nonprofit, those people work really, really, really hard for not a lot. So I want you to start practicing working really, really, really hard. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Get this debt out of there. Get yourself $10,000 or $15,000 in the bank, and then you've got some leverage to decide. I want to go to college. What do I want to do next? I think that'd be fantastic. Good for you.
Okay.
Yeah, proud of you. You got a great heart. You're going to do great things, Brianna. Thank you so much for calling. Nathan is up next in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Nathan, how can we help?
Hi. So I have $300,000 in debt, and
how much?
I go to $300,000.
Oh boy.
Are you a doctor?
Where are the Tums?
No, so a lot of it comes from my wife's college choices that she made. But the question that I have is, I have 3 cars. In the next year and a half, I'll be going to Germany, and I can only take 1 car. I don't know what to do with the 3 cars. Should I sell all 3 cars and buy a cheap car, and hopefully it turns out for the good? It runs good for all 3 years, or should I?
Will you need a car in Germany?
Yes, for work.
Why?
Just to get from home to work.
They have an exquisite public transit system.
I was going to say, I'm going to challenge that. Have you done your homework on that?
A little bit, not a lot.
Do a lot more.
Sell all 3 cars.
Absolutely all 3.
The cost, it's going to cost you a couple of grand at a minimum to even get it over there, isn't it?
No, it'll be paid for by my job.
What do you owe on the cars? Start with, just you pick them. Car 1, car 2, car 3. What do you owe?
Car 1, I owe 22. It's worth 26. Car 2, I owe 35. It's worth 18. And car 3, I own outright, and I can probably sell for 6 to 8.
So you're upside down big time in car 2.
Correct.
What kind of car is it?
It's a 2022 Ford Escape.
How much is the car worth that you own outright?
About 6 to 10.
Okay. Well, John's right. I definitely am selling the car that you owe 22 on today. I'm listing it tonight, and hopefully we get 26 for it. So now you got 4,000 there, and you got to put all 4,000 of that on the car that you owe 35 on. You're still upside down, and at that point,
how are you upside down that much with as wonky as car prices have been?
I made a bad decision. Traded in a truck.
You rolled a bunch of equity in?
Yes.
Ooh, man. Okay. Yikes. Okay, so this is going to be just one of those moments, man. How old are you?
28.
Dave used to call it stupid tax. I won't call it that, but I'll just say this is going to be a real expensive smack upside the head, and you'll know to never, ever do this again, right?
Correct, yes.
Right. Here's the deal. If I'm you, I'm selling every car I got, and it's cool that my company has this perk, but we don't have to utilize every perk. It's like going to a store and buying something just because it's on sale. You don't have to do that. I'd sell all these 3. I'd go to Germany, try to use the public transit system, and if I have to get a car, then I'll buy a local car used there. But I'm not traveling with a $6,000 car overseas. That just seems silly. And I'd sell them, and y'all are broke, man. You got to get this stuff paid off ASAP.
Thank you for the call, Nathan. Hang on the line. We're going to get you some great resources from our team, Total Money Makeover, and some more. Hang on the line. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by my colleague, Dr. John Deloney. We're here for you this hour, 888-825-5225. Our scripture of the day comes from 2 Chronicles 15:7. But as for you, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. Our quote of the day comes from the GOAT. I'm just going to say it. It's not LeBron James. It's Michael Jordan, and I meant it when I said it. Obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through it, or work around it. Even his quotes are better than LeBron's. I mean, what do you want? I'm tired. I got a 14-year-old kid who won't even acknowledge that Jordan could be the GOAT. I've seen them both play. It's not up for a vote.
I'm all about Hakeem Olajuwon, man.
Okay, there's another one. Fantastic. That'll get me some hate mail. That statement alone.
Yeah,
right
I hope they clip that and put that on the TikToks.
I'll be huge.
And the 14-year-olds come after you.
I'll blow up. Let's go to Brandon, who joins us now in Raleigh, North Carolina. Brandon, how can we help?
Hey, yes, sir. So Hope y'all are doing good, by the way, as well.
We're doing great. Thank you.
I've been with my job now for about 11 or 12 years. I've got good retirement, good pay, benefits, and all that stuff. Kind of getting bored with it, and I don't know if I should make a career change or not because I don't know what to really get into. I thought about flight attendants, but I'm not sure that I will be good at it or what to do. I'm not sure, so I'm having a hard time deciding what to do and if I should just kind of sell everything I've got and make a career change and move if I need to, or not.
What's your current job?
Yeah, I mean, let's slow down. I like what you've done. What are you doing now that is causing you to be bored?
So I work for the county that I live in, locating water and sewer lines.
Uh-huh.
And that's pretty much all I do is when contractors call, I just go out there and mark our stuff so they don't hit it while they're digging.
I think you might be the first person in human history to go from locating sewer lines to flight attendant.
I know, and passing out peanuts.
You've dealing with idiots like me, like, oh, my back hurts and my knees are like whatever.
Right.
Dude, you just made my whole day, man.
So here's the question. What made you come up? And by the way, I don't want you to doubt this. I just want you to tell me what's behind the idea of being a flight attendant. Where'd that come from? There's a reason why that pops in your mind. What is it?
I just think flying is cool and traveling and stuff. And it's just a change. I don't know. I used to, throughout my whole high school year, I worked at a restaurant, so I waited tables and stuff like that. So I don't mind waiting on people and helping people and serving people and stuff like that.
Okay, now all right, so let's lock in on that for a moment. And here's the deal. My advice on the flight attendant is I wrote an entire book on this called The Proximity Principle, and it simply says this: in order to do what Brandon wants to do, he's got to be around people that are doing it and in places where it is happening. This is also about confirmation. You need to actually talk to some people who are flight attendants. So I think one of your homework assignments is through friends of friends or family members, get on the phone or Zoom or lunch or coffee with somebody. You live in Raleigh, so that's a hub for Southwest. There's got to be a way that you can meet with somebody and just talk to them. You remember doing a term paper back in high school, about, okay, what is involved in this career? Just ask all the questions. I want to know the highs. I want to know the lows. What does it take to get qualified? What do you make? What does promotion look like? What's that journey? What's the most I can make? You need to know more. It can't just be, I like flying, I like traveling. Now, that's the homework assignment on the flight attendant thing. But I want to go back into, you have been in the service industry before, and you said, I didn't mind waiting on people, but I'm curious to know what kind of work, forget about job title, do you think about? Because when your mind wanders, I mean, do you really love caretaking, taking care of people and serving people? Or is there a different kind of work that you've always kind of been drawn to? What's the answer to that?
I don't know, because my mind just goes 1,000 miles an hour. I think about going into cutting grass full time, maybe switching to a different government job, real estate, all kinds of stuff.
Brandon,
that's when you're thinking.
Brandon, what are you running from, man?
I don't know. Nothing really.
Yes, you are. Why don't you like your life?
Because all I do, I go to work, I come home, and I'm single, no wife, no kids, nothing like that. So I literally go work, come home, and do nothing except for just hang out at the house, or I go out on my motorcycle or something like that. But the main thing is just boredom. I'm just tired of sitting around the house.
Yes. So here's the deal. John's right. There's some stuff going on here, but I want to take you back. There was a season, there was a time, it may have been 2 weeks ago, it may have been last night. I don't mean thinking of all these different ideas where you can go work and get a paycheck. I'm saying, what do you wonder about in the dark of night? If I could do this, it feels like a unicorn to you. It feels like that dream fantasy. It's way far out there. I could never do it. I want to know the thing that you wondered about. The type of work that you go, I would love to do that. If I could just snap my fingers, I would do this. And I think you have an answer. You're already thinking of it. Yes, you do. I've done this enough. What is it?
Real estate, I would say that's probably been on my mind the most, probably.
All right. What about real estate connects to some of the moments in your past work life that you've enjoyed? I want you to think about all the time that you've worked, a lot of different things. There have been moments where you've had enjoyment. You felt like I was making a difference here, and it made me stand up a little straighter. and connect those moments to real estate, what about real estate draws you in? Why do you think that you would love that? Get up excited about it.
Because I just enjoy houses and people and like looking at the different how things are built different and stuff like that.
Great. Well, if I interviewed everybody that knows you, Brandon, and I said, tell me Brandon's top 2 or 3 people skills where he's really good with people, what would they tell me?
Just talking and helping.
Good. John, I see a pattern here, and I think he's looking for that role where he can see that he's making a difference in people's lives. And instead of trying to come up with all the ideas, I think it's connecting to the people that he most wants to help and being okay with that answer. What do you think?
Yeah. Brandon, before you jump ship on your job, as Ken said, as you start thinking about what is this going to look like, what am I going to do, I want you to look at your life and start doing things differently, even when it feels weird. What I mean by that is stop going straight home and just turn on the TV and cracking a beer and plopping your feet up and then wait until the day's over so you can get up and do it again the next day. And don't just go on Saturday mornings and put your helmet on and drive your motorcycle around by yourself. You've created a lonely existence for yourself. I'd much rather you grab a couple of guys and say, hey, Monday nights we go out to wherever and we throw darts, we play cards, whatever we do, and start creating opportunities for you to hang out with people and create opportunities for your life to be different. That's going to give you some clarity on what comes next with your work.
And let me add one thing to what John said. I want you to find in your zip code, the area where you frequent, find some people that have got some needs that you have something to offer, and why don't you go do that? Instead of going home, like John said, why don't you go volunteer 1 or 2 nights over the next couple weeks? Go do something that you're able to do for somebody, some way of service. I think you need to get the juice back, this idea of, hey, I'm making a difference. I'm doing something that put a smile on somebody's face. I helped an old lady when no one else would help. I think, John, he needs...
Even beyond, even if it's not, if you can't find service opportunities in your community, go, which you can in Raleigh for sure.
Yeah.
Go get a second gig 2 nights a week waiting tables. They'd be happy to have you these days, man. They're desperate for help. But go put yourself in a position to be around other people, man.
But to do something fun, like John's saying, it's got to be work that you enjoy.
Yes. Hang on the line. We're going to send you the Get Clear assessment, Ken's assessment, so you can start asking yourself, okay, what is life after locating sewer lines? And I'm going to send you Questions for Humans, Guys Night Out.
I love that.
Whatever else they got. So you could take these out and hang out with some people and say, hey, I got this stuff from this idiot on the radio. Let's try these cards out. And it will at least facilitate some conversation there, man.
Have some fun with some people, Brandon. You got a lot to offer, man. You're a bright light.
I want to hang out with you, Brandon. You sound like a cool guy.
Absolutely. Come to Nashville. We'll get you some hot chicken and then talk about it. Hey, John Deloney, good hour. Thank you, sir. I want to thank James, the entire crew, for keeping us on the air. I want to thank you, America, for listening. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey, it's Ken. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.